Hi everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. It's Friday. It's time for you to hear my thoughts, opinions, reviews on my pull list that I picked up on Wednesday. Time is of the essence this week, I'm afraid. I am busy, which means these reviews are going to be very succinct and very brief. But I wanted to get a video up, let you know what I thought about my books. So we're kicking off with issue 4 of Dynamite's Dr. Specter, Master of the Occult. To be honest, I didn't have a clue what was going on in here. I don't know whether this title was actually solicited for just 4 issues or whether it didn't sell very well and so was cut short in its prime, because there really isn't an ending here. Apparently Dr. Specter is to show up in Solar, is it Man of the Atom or something like that. It just got left hanging in midair, and because of the delayed solicitations, I'd forgotten what this story was actually all about, which was a shame because it started off strong. It was an interesting concept, but failed at the last hurdle. Batman Eternal issue 34, and I don't believe any of us thought that Hush was the big master puppeteer behind all this shenanigans that are going on in Gotham at the moment. And this issue certainly puts anyone who was unsure, those thoughts are put to rest, as Batman quite unspectacularly puts Hush down. And although he may win that battle, he certainly gets punched in the at least financial stomach as Wayne Enterprises is taken down. It was another okay issue of Batman Eternal. Umbral issue 11, and the team may be back together. We thought we'd found out who the mole was in the group, and then we get thrown for another loop and it still could be someone else within the team. It's certainly keeping the reader on its toes, but as always, this treads very familiar dark fantasy ground, but I'm still enjoying it. The colouring on this is very good for the kind of book it is. The artwork certainly stands out more than the actual storyline. From Boom Studios, Memetic issue 2. This was good. I had a lot of fun with this. It's nothing particularly new or original. Obviously in issue 1 we have this meme that if you look at it, sets off triggers in your brain that eventually turns you into kind of violent zombie type creatures. Of course that's not going to affect everyone, and as soon as you find out that's what the trigger is, you're going to eradicate that image as much as you can, so the next step is in place. So we've had the kind of vision portion of your kind of senses. Now it's all about your hearing. All our crazed zombies are now singing in unison, making sure whoever's left will come in and join their forces. Lots of fun, nothing too deep and difficult to read, though a lot of pages to get through, a lot of action. This is only a 3, that's it, it's the final issue, next issue, which for me is quite good because this is a $5 book, quite an expensive one, but you do get a lot of pages for it. Justice League Dark issue 36, and we had Zatanna's story after being split up from the group into this kind of weird dimension where her father is still alive. Now we focus on Swamp Thing, Frankenstein's monster, Night Nurse, and Vampire Girl, Anne Bennett. and they come up against Felix Faust, but it's a very mutated version of him. And there are more than one of him. It was, again, another fun, entertaining book where our four characters have to actually team up in the end with Felix Faust against Felix Faust. If you've read that issue, you will understand what I'm talking about. The artwork hasn't been as good as previous. I think it's there is a different set of artists on this now. But it is still DeMatteis writing a story enough to keep me interested. But it just seems to have kind of lost its way in a sense. Let's get the team back together and get them doing something exciting and get them back down to earth, dealing with, I guess, the supernatural elements of the DC universe. Going on with more supernatural, Gotham by Midnight, issue 1, the first issue by Fawkes and Templesmith. It does feel like I've read this kind of story before. It's a team that deals with things that normal cops cannot, e.g. the demonic, the spiritual, the supernatural, headed by Jim Corrigan, calls the Specter. And on the first day we meet these guys, we have an internal investigator wanting to know where all this money from the GCPD is going. It's going to fund our little team here, and he wants to shut them down. So what do? You take him along on a case to see where all this money is being put to use. Obviously the winner here is Templesmith's artwork. It's very, very apt for this kind of story, the supernatural element. It's all very dark. It feels demonic. We're dealing with two very strange, scary children, which, well, kids are scary anyway. But as much as I enjoyed it, like I said, I just feel as though I've read this before. I am in for the long haul. Excuse me. I wonder how long Templesmith will last on this book. Renowned for not sticking around. 10 grand. Had a fantastic start. Templesmith really creating a great atmosphere, but then he left and it just died from there. So if Templesmith doesn't last with this issue, they better be careful who they put on for the art duties to keep the feeling of this book going, which is the winner for me. Trees, issue 7, and Warren Ellis is really dealing with some very big, very real issues that we have to deal with in real life. We have climate control, climate change, gender politics, socio-economic politics, the politics of war. It's a very political book, and while I am not probably half as intelligent to understand a great deal of it, it is incredibly intriguing, it's incredibly interesting, and it's kind of a sleeper hit for me. I was unsure where we were going to go with this and whether it was going to keep my interest long enough, but it has, strangely enough. And obviously in this issue we find out maybe something a little bit more about our alien trees and the reason for the black flowers. Things seem to be coming to a head for this story arc. I'm sure there is much more to go on after this, but things are certainly moving along, not just with the characters this time, but with the trees themselves. The Unwritten Apocalypse, issue 11. This is the penultimate issue, and it takes us in a kind of roundabout way right back to the start, from the very first issue. And long-term readers, those of us who have been here from the start, will appreciate what Carey has done here. Marvellously executed. Love this book. I cannot wait to see how Carey wraps this up and brings it all together. Great stuff. Finally, it's the one that I have been waiting for months. When I first heard about it, I was incredibly thrilled to read this. Once I actually had this on Wednesday, it did take me a long time to actually open it up and read what the contents had inside, because I had hyped it up in my own mind so much that I thought, whatever's going to happen when I open the pages, I am going to be let down. So I was, in a way, I know it's crazy to say, but I was scared to open the first page. But saying that, I really enjoyed this. The highlight obviously is the colouring on this. It is a psychedelic winner. It's just amazing colours. Like, it's like being on an acid trip. Obviously, you know, it's been billed as this kind of Odyssey meets Barbarella. They've kind of changed the genders of all the characters in the Odyssey. We now have this group of kind of warrior women that have battled and now they want to go home, but the gods looking down upon them, they still haven't finished playing with them and just cause them no amount of trouble. It was a very difficult book to read though. You had to really concentrate, not just for the sake that there was a lot of very kind of Greek sounding names to get your tongue round. There were some kind of crazy kind of concepts, the idea of their kind of spaceships being controlled by, you know, these subservient slaves that are in pods, and their concentration moves the craft. The idea that, you know, the male of the species is completely subservient to the women, to the point, you know, where they have this guy in a gimp suit with a leash round his neck being dragged along by one of our warrior women. But visually it is amazing. This is clearly one that's going to stick with me for a long time. We could well have a next saga for epicness. Let's hope that Matt Fraction and Christian Ward can keep the high quality of this first issue going as it progresses through next year. And really, that is it. I'm sorry I've had to be so quick with my reviews of the comics this week. I really enjoyed a lot of them. There was nothing wrong with them. Entertained as always. And that's really about it. I've got places to go, people to see, things to do. So, until next week, I hope you've all enjoyed your comic books. If you've liked this video and you're not yet subscribed and want to keep watching, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up, it all helps out. And in the comment section below, just let me know what you thought. What's going on in your lives? What comics have really thrilled and excited you this week? Let me know down there. Until next week, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you on the other side. Bye bye.